Hi, I'm Michelle Lacy, and you're watching Orgasm Central TV.
So how'd you get started in this industry?
I was bartending my way through college, and in New York, the bars close very late, and a lot of people are left at the end of the night very drunk, and they're telling you their deepest, darkest secrets. And they always want to tell their deepest, darkest, most drunken secrets to the bartender, the pretty bartender. And so I had people spilling about all of their inner fantasies, that they had a panty fetish, that they wanted to be humiliated, that they were submissive. And I wasn't freaked out about it at all. I was actually intrigued. So I started messing with them. I started spitting in their drinks and humiliating them at the bar. I would sell my panties to them. I mean, I just had them taking shots off of my boots and they had to lick it off my boots. I mean, I was basically a bartending dominatrix. And I didn't really know that what I was doing at the time was pretty much being a dominatrix. That didn't really click in my head until somebody that I worked with at the bar said, "Why don't you just become a dominatrix? You realize you're doing that every day." And I never knew what I was doing was actually something. So that's how I got started. And then I looked for a job in New York City, where I was going to college. And my dog keeps bringing me her ball. She's interrupting. Um, I started looking for a job at a local dungeon studio, and I found one in New York City that was surprisingly 2 blocks from my college, which was a little weird. And I didn't know what to think. And I went in there, and it was pretty wild what I saw on my first day of my interview. I was basically exposed to one of the most extreme of types of appointments that you can ever do in professional BDSM. And I almost never came back, but something intrigued me about it and kept me there. So I never looked back. And yeah, I've been doing it for almost 20 years.
What do you like most about your work and what do you like the least?
I love that I get to help people in their kinky journey. I like people to be able to find themselves, and I like to help people explore themselves in a safe and judgment-free environment. What I do is very meaningful to a lot of people, and it's severely undervalued, which is one of the things I do not like about it. Almost 20 years ago, when I started, the internet was not as prevalent as it is today. So a lot of people had a lot of shame and guilt over their inner feelings and their kinks. And so they didn't have the internet to show them, wow, I'm not alone. There's millions of people just like me. The problem with that is that all these people had a lot of shame. It was also medically listed as you know, um, like a medical, like basically you were like something was wrong with you. Okay, like you had a forgot the word for it, but basically it was like listed medically like you had like mental problems if you were kinky. And it was really cool for me to be able to see people who like that at that time in the world and help them and show them that there's nothing wrong with what they do. There's nothing wrong with being kinky, and they shouldn't feel ashamed. This is perfectly fine and just a part of who they are and a part of who many millions and millions of people are. And they feel less alone for the very first time. They are in such gratitude to you. They feel like you are the doctor that cured their cancer. They are just in awe of you and so grateful. And so that's been one of the best parts of my career and why I love it so much. But yeah, I don't like the stigma attached to it and how undervalued it is that of what we do. That's terrible.
Okay. So what was your favorite scene to shoot?
Oh, to shoot. Oh gosh. I have to really think about that because I'm actually not a video mistress anymore. I haven't shot videos regularly in ages. I'm mostly an in-person dominatrix. Gosh, I think one of the most favorite scenes that I did shoot though way back in the day, it had to be a video with Club Dom where I laugh thinking about it now. I haven't thought about this in a long time. We were out there in the field and we had this guy on the cross, and we were trying to get the last video of the day finished because a storm was rolling in. So it was like, hurry, 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 let's get the last shot. And it was a whipping scene. And so me and these two other mistresses are out there and the director's out there, and he's like, yelling, like, all right, let's go, let's go, let's get this done. And you can hear the thunder starting, and then we had thunder just going like crazy. We didn't have the rain yet, but we had thunder and we had lightning. So we're whipping this guy and he's screaming into the thunder, and you could see all the lightning in the background, you can hear all the thunder. And it was just so wild because we were able to shoot that and finish it and all run into the house, him with his back all messed up and bleeding and everything, just having to all run several acres into the house to beat this rainstorm. And that was probably one of the most fun videos I ever shot, just because it was so theatrical. I like theatrics.
Oh,
So.
snap. I mean, that's kind of scary, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know you said like you're like in session dominatrix type and you don't really shoot with anyone, but if you could shoot with someone, like what companies were you dying to shoot with?
Well, that's kind of hard to answer because I've shot with all of them. I've shot with like a lot of the big companies out there that shoot my genre. There are people that I don't shoot with, not because I don't like them, but because they're not my genre. Like I'm not going to shoot with Brat Princess because that's not my genre, right? So one of the big companies that I was shooting for a long time regularly, and I actually worked for them. I was Club Dom, and they are the biggest femdom filming company in the world. And even though they don't really shoot anymore, they still are by far, like they have hundreds of thousands of videos. And yeah, I worked for that company for a long time. I shot a lot of content for them, and they also had me editing their videos and running their website on Elevated X, and editing their clip descriptions and writing their clip descriptions and things like that for many years. So I was actually a big part of that company. Um, but yeah, I shot for a lot of big companies already, so I don't think there's anyone out there or any people or company that I aim to shoot for because I've already done it. I've already done it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's one of those long-winded questions. Like, according to the 2022 Free Speech Coalition, 46% of adult workers have been restricted on services like PayPal, Venmo,
Mm-hmm.
and Cash App. 36% of adult performers have lost at least one bank account. 55% have been denied insurance because of their background, and half have been denied insurance, like a loan, because of sex work. What do you think of those statistics?
Oh yeah, I mean, I completely believe it. I've went through it for 20 years with my fellow sex workers. I know a very, I have a really long history with that and watching people deal with that over the years. When Venmo came out, I watched people's Venmos get shut down. I've watched people's PayPals get shut down before that. I mean, it's terrible. It's absolutely horrible. Because I pay taxes. Most of us are paying taxes. Some of us are in very high tax brackets. And if we are in really high tax brackets, we should be not subjected to that kind of stigma where we can't have bank accounts with certain banks. It's absolutely ridiculous to me. I do understand that there's a risk with those companies and sex work appointments, especially being paid for by certain processors and things like that, because the amount of fraud is way higher than regular credit card purchases. People are constantly charging back videos they buy. People are pirating entire OnlyFans accounts and loyal fans accounts and charging back many thousands of dollars just to sell it overseas. Some people are denying to their wives that they spent that money and they don't, it must be fraud. So they're, because their wives caught them and they're lying about it. So there's tons of that. So their wives are charging back the payments that they think are fraud. And we have to try to deal with that, in a different way, because unfortunately we're all getting hurt by it, because we can't work normally like a normal business. We have to go about things in a different way, and it's very frustrating, very frustrating. And it goes beyond payment processors. There's a lot of sex workers that are wonderful mothers, and they've historically had lost their children in custody battles because they were sex workers. Even though they were not doing sex work in front of their children, even though they were not doing sex work at home or editing it at home or bringing it home, they have lost custody battles because the other partner has blown out of proportion uh, their sex work. So, yeah, there's a lot of facets I could talk about on this topic and go endlessly on about. But yeah, it's very sad. It's quite terrible because we do so much for people and we're just trying to make a living doing something we like, and it's very unfair.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. So what makes you stand out in this industry?
I run several world famous femdom events that people come to from all over the globe. I've been doing that for a very long time. And I basically specialize in immersive event where people come from all over the globe to live in this nonstop femdom environment and serve dominant women for multiple days, sometimes up to a week. And I've been doing those events for more than 10 years. I have multiple types of events, and yeah, I'm really known for those big events. I also do immersive, long, very long appointments, like one-on-one appointments. And usually those have a lot of bondage, servitude, but they're usually heavily bondage focused. Lots of captivity and interrogation sometimes. It depends on the person I'm seeing. Usually they're subjected to a lot of naughty things throughout their captivity with me. And I guess that's what I'm known for a lot. I also do a lot of servant training with people that are very subservient and want to learn how to serve you. So those are all the things I'm fairly known for in this industry. And
So,
all wild videos I've shot a long time ago.
ah, right.
Mhm.
So where do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years?
I'm probably going to be retired from the industry. I've been in it a very long time. I might still be seeing some of my favorite regular people, but I probably will be mostly or fully retired. And I actually teach a dominatrix school, and I hope to still be doing that for a long time. Um, so that's sort of where I see myself, like teaching and passing on the knowledge, so other sex workers can learn how to do this job in safe and wonderful ways, passing the torch along, I guess you
So,
could say.
yeah. So what is your greatest accomplishment in this industry?
So basically, two of my greatest, I think, accomplishments in this industry are they're both I'm not like credited with being the person that did this single-handedly. It was a joint effort on my whole industry to get on board with it. But there used to be a message board way back in the old days of my career, and this message board is now defunct, but back in the day, it was the place where if you were a kinky guy to be, especially if you booked dominatrixes. And I was a very loud voice on that message board, championing for deposits. Because back in the day, we didn't have deposits. We could travel hours to go see someone and be almost there, and they would just cancel. So we needed some sort of deposit method, and that's very important into how we work today. So back then I was a very loud voice sort of championing this. I was in part of a very important thread that I had created that ended up getting hundreds and hundreds of people on board arguing about this stuff until it really sort of hit home for a lot of people that we really need to do this. And, you know, again, it was a joint effort, but I was definitely a loud voice in that change, that need for change. And we actually do not work without deposits today. It's a whole different ballgame. The other thing is that I was big help in the change of how dominatrixes view and treat other sex workers in other areas of the industry. Because we have dominatrixes, we have porn stars, we have webcam girls, we have the dominatrix porn star webcam girl slash escort. We have a mixture of people. And back in the day, it used to be a terrible world in professional domination where women in my industry looked down on other women who did other types of sex work that was a little more intimate or a little more revealing than what they did. And if you dared to shoot anything pornographic or show more skin than what other people do, you were basically like slut shamed and kicked out of the industry. I mean, it was bullied out of the industry. It was really a tough time. And I was a person that back then was doing things that were against the norm. And, it was kind of terrible. And so, back in the day, we didn't have as much camaraderie as we do online. And today, where all sex workers seem to kind of like each other, that didn't exist. And so, I had a lot of people trying to bully me out of the industry, and it was like a witch hunt. And I had to keep going back online and keep working my job and doing what I do and kind of shouting back in the face of this adversity and constantly hammering the point home that we're all considered sex workers of different forms, and there's no part of sex work that's better or less better than another form of sex work. We're all the same. And so we call it a hierarchy when some sex workers think that they're better than others. And it's kind of, a terrible thing because in the eyes of society, we're all the exact same to them. So, we all have to kind of band together. We all had to sort of band together and change that. But I was also a big push for that in my industry because of what had happened to me. And I was a big, loud, screaming voice for that change. And the fact that I continuously still went online and still fought back and still did what I did, that caused a big change. So, it caused more and more people to get on board with not hating other areas of sex work and sex workers so much. And now we're all one big happy family. So, or at least I like to think we are.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed like when I was interviewing other doms that do dom work, they get really offended when I say that it's kind of like porn. Even though some doms get offended by it and they do have a Pornhub page,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of confusing to me because I don't know how you get offended by that. Like
Exactly.
too
Exactly.
too brittle, too
Hmm.
fragile. But
Exactly.
but in any bonus question,
Hmm.
what's the difference between a kink and a fetish?
Um, so a kink to me, I mean, everybody has their own interpretations, but to me, a kink is something that you like that is not vanilla, not typically considered vanilla, so a kink could be, I like bondage, or I like, role play, or I like latex, or I like strap on, right? But a fetish is when you have a strong sexual attraction to an object or a body part, something that, makes you go crazy, not an act, but an object or a body part, such as latex, or a foot fetish or a leather fetish. There are fetishes for kids' sneakers from back in the day, things like that. So it's usually a strong attraction to like an object or a body part, um, you know, versus I'm kinky and I like all these kinks. You can be kinky and like a bunch of kinks, but if you have a really strong fetish for something, you're attracted to this object or body part for a really, really strong reason. So I may have somebody book me for an appointment and they say these are all my kinks, but these are my fetishes. These are the things that really, attract me to this. So if someone has a latex fetish in their appointment, they have a latex fetish. They are smelling the rubber. They are like attracted to the smell of it, the sound of it, the feeling of it. They could just sit there and hold it and rub it in their hands and go crazy. I don't have to even do anything to them with it. So that's more of a fetish.
than it is a kink.